Just a quick word about the relationship between narcissism and codependency. As you know, if you've seen my other uploads, my particular angle is on how to work on yourself. A lot of the people I've observed speaking about narcissism or their involvement with a narcissist have been charismatic. They're great at representing, and I was great too. I like to think I still am, but I'm not quite what I was. It took me a long time to get this upload happening because what I found out I did was I was projecting this image of somebody who had it so together and had the answers, and you could depend on me, you could lean on me, and that's that person who's supporting others. That's that person who can be such a strong source of support for other people, and that's what I was for all of my adult life, from the time I was a young woman in my late teens, right through, even though privately I often felt desperate. I had a few things I wanted to say and I haven't made notes, so fingers crossed I don't meander and amble on too much. I just watched an upload, 7 Red Flags about narcissism. That wasn't the name of it, it was something like that. Very popular uploader, vivacious, funny, effervescent. She looked great, a nurse. And upon hearing that she was a nurse, I thought, gosh, that reminds me of that Audible download where Empowering Women gift set, I think it was. And Susan Jeffries saying that the majority of nurses were codependent. Well, I trained as a crisis intervention youth worker. And man, could I represent. I won speech competitions. Did I mention that already? It seems amazing to me now because behind that facade I was a bit of a mess, really. There's another observation I could draw from that, aside from that great PR, is that around a strong narcissist who has gained control over people, I think narcissistic behaviours are replicated. I was being really fake. I wasn't lying, but boy was I out to impress. But that was towing the party line. I was doing that for the team. I had to represent. And my first recordings I made for YouTube were just incongruent. I knew that I had been a mess. I was a mess. My life was filled with fear. I didn't know how to complete any of my own goals. I self-sabotaged everything I set my hand to because I was sure I'd be attacked for representing myself. So, I'm growing a lot now, and it's inside the context of a healthy relationship. Now, this man, he's not like a girlfriend wrapped up in man skin. He's an actual man. So I have a lot to learn about communicating with him, showing him what he needs in the relationship, which is more about respect than love. The love comes in a close second. He's authentic, but this isn't about him. We're authentic together. Inside that relationship, I get to a decision point. I know when I'm at a decision point with communication because of my levels of tension and panic. I have a lot of fear around saying what I really think and what I really feel if I think it's not what he wants. And I so quickly fall into my default of pleasing and agreeing and moulding myself into what he may be. And then almost as quickly I snap the hell out of it and I tell the truth, despite how scary that can be if you've been in an abusive relationship. So what I want to pass on is that it's possible to grow and heal inside while you're in a relationship with another person. In fact, learning that communication, whether it's with friends or family members, as long as they're trusted and they're not part of the original narcissistic network or, extension of a narcissist that originally got you into this trouble of codependency. Be brave at that decision point. You usually know where you need to go because of how scary it feels. Depending on where you are with your healing, you may not even recognize what emotions it is you're feeling. All you know is that hard on the feels hard on the heels of some emotion, you make what appears to be very logical decisions. And then you push the emotion down and you go with the thinking. I used to, and I'd miss that moment where I felt that emotion I was even reacting to. So I didn't recognize that I was acting out of emotion. I thought everything I was doing and saying was logical and wise. But actually it was driven by an emotion, and the emotion was usually fear that became panic. And when really confronted, I would throw up this angry scream to cover my fear, because exposing vulnerability is really dangerous around narcissists for your self-esteem. What happens next isn't pretty. So, there are other ways to self-actualize. There's meditation, there's affirmations, but there's nothing quite like breaking the ice and doing something new and challenging that emotion with action and a real conscious decision about what you're feeling, knowing why you're feeling it, what it is you want to change, and doing it. And I'm speaking to women. I know that men are equally as important and equally likely to have narcissistic abuse, but I also know that we're really different, and having not lived as a man, what I have to say is probably just more appropriate for women. Instead of feeling that emotion and pushing it down even as you formulate your plan, say how you feel. Put your vulnerability on your sleeve. You know, Brené Brown would approve of this. It may be disproportionate, and you may not feel proud of your mess of emotions as they start to emerge. And there's a good chance that if you're with a sort of a healthy, well-balanced, no one's perfect, you know, everyone's had problems. But people don't understand narcissistic abuse typically. But if you're with someone who loves you and who wants the best for you, and you're prepared to be honest with them in a way which is humble, you know, not that proud pretense of, I don't need your help, you know, I don't need you to understand me, I'm fine. If you're prepared to go through the ugly, they'll see that it's real, and they'll come to the conclusion that you have gone through a thing, and they'll appreciate your intention to change, and that you're prepared to go through the pain of this change and what is apparently occasionally terrifying communication, but you're doing it anyway. They'll appreciate that. If they don't, you know, you may have found another one. Or you may not be with somebody who's got the maturity. Or they don't have the maturity yet, but they're going to get there really quickly because they're growing with you. So I'll think about whether or not I upload this. I'm basically telling you, if you're single, you need to get someone, which isn't what I'm saying. Because it doesn't have to be a partner. It can be a friend. It can be any support person that you like. You just need to start practicing that kind of honesty with someone. The more you do it, the easier it will be. And it's like replacing any bad habit. It's hard to just completely stop something. It's easier to replace it with something else. So where you feel the fear and enter that sudden rationalization, suppression, rationalization, and action stage, or panic or terror, whatever strong negative emotion you feel that you need to run from, instead, even as you've started to suppress it, go back to it. Let it come bubbling back up. It's so much better for your health. Say, I feel really uncomfortable about this conflict. Please be patient with me while I talk through it, but this is what I'm experiencing, and this is why I talk it out and diffuse it. You're just going to be amazed at how things can be untangled, how the emotion can be diffused, and how free you become doing this over and over again for the rest of your life.